Az instant elhízik, Jesus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Palia's Gameplay First Look. I'm your host, Trisha Hirschberger.
Ez amúgy előre felvett cucc, csak
I'm
mondom.
excited to walk you through the world of Palia. Now, today we are here with Singularity 6, developers of the game, and I know everyone is so excited because we just recently announced that the beta is coming for Palia. This is the time. But today will be the first time that we are showing Palia gameplay to the world. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here. Let's meet our panelists. First up, we've got Palia's game director and creative lead, Aiden. Welcome to the stream.
Hey everybody, it's just amazing to be here after all this time working on the game, to be at the point where we're finally ready to show something. Thank you for your patience. Really excited to be here today.
So excited, Aiden. Thank you for being here. Sitting next to Aiden, we've got the scribe behind Palia's lore, villager characters, and the game's evolving world story, Olivia. Olivia, thank you for being here today.
Thank you. I can't believe I'm
Én is azt néztem, hogy oda kell írni, hogy she, her, he, him, durva.
The Ormus Horn is a big hub for our villagers and players.
Ilyen világot élünk.
It's just surreal to be here in person.
It is a very cool setting for sure. Also in the inn with us today is Maxwell, who keeps the team on track with Palia's development. Welcome, Maxwell.
Thanks, Trish. Really excited to show folks what we've got in store today.
Yes, it is going to be fantastic. And sitting just on the end of the inn tavern chair, here we've got Ambrielle, Palia's senior director of production, who makes your in-game characters look gorgeous. Welcome, Ambrielle.
Thank you so much. It's been really hard to wait all this time and not be able to say anything, so couldn't be more excited to start sharing with all of you today.
So since the excitement is so high today, in case you missed it, let's go ahead and take a look at Palia's beta announced trailer.
Ez ugyanaz, amit láttunk már. Azért voltam csak szomorú egyébként, mert egyébként amúgy, hogy csak emberfaj van benne, vagy hát értitek, hogy azt lehet kezdeni csak. Tetszett, hogy ez a vámpír csávó, izé, nem tudom. Vagy van benne ilyen valami pink csaj is. Hát lehet Devzon egyébként közben.
This game looks so beautiful. Was that an in-house aquarium I saw at one point?
Absolutely. Yep.
Ahogy ez itt tök hang, a trailer
hangos. So much to dive into. Aiden, tell us about Palia.
Absolutely. Well, Palia at high level, it's a cozy community simulation MMO in which you get to be transported into this amazing, whimsical fantasy world, build the house of your dreams, develop relationships with all our unique cast of characters, and of course, most importantly, you get to do this with all your friends. It's a massively multiplayer game where all your friends can be a part of it.
Oh, I just can't wait. Now, for everyone who's watching right now, we've got a lot to get into today. Today, we will be giving you an exclusive deep dive into the world of Palia. We'll be taking a first look at Palia's gameplay. We'll get into some of the lore and meet some of the villagers. We will dive into a quest and even check out multiplayer, and we'll be taking a look at the game's cosmetic items and art as well. So like I said,
A legjobb
tons
rész.
to delve into. I am someone who is big into character creation. I saw in the beta announced trailer, trying on some different hairstyles, some
Na,
different
srácok,
outfits.
ne legyetek már ennyire magyarok.
If I'm just getting started in Palia, how do I make my
Örüljünk a
character?
gameplaynek, majd.
Absolutely. So this is actually the very first experience that you do in
Body
the
type.
game. You know, once you've logged in, and you can see we jump right into the lore right off the bat.
Yeah, eventually we're going to learn what this swirly pink purple void is. So we're already in the story. We're actually, part of the story is that humans are coming back to the world of Palia for the first time in thousands of years. So creating your character is a big part of that, you know, like what kind of human do you want to be?
Yeah, I'm very impressed right now already with the amount of options that you have. We took a look at face shape. Now we're looking at various skin tones, different eye colors.
akarom a
And just
hajat.
as a personal question for me, when I created my character in
Itt akarom
Palia,
őket,
I
úgyse
wanted to
érdekes.
make someone that looked a little bit like me, but with some extra pizzazz. Olivia, are you someone who creates a character that looks like yourself, or do you go as far from
Amúgy
that
nem
as you can?
érdekesek ők, nem?
I try to make them look as close to myself as humanly possible. Like if a game doesn't have like copper long hair, I'm like, oh, I'm already turned off for this game. So I'm glad we have so many options, so many people can, you know, be able to find themselves in our character creator.
Absolutely. And Aiden, for you, do you design a character that looks like
Lehetne
yourself, or do
sokkal
you
több
generally
hajam
go
úgy.
into what you'd like to be in a fantasy world?
You know what? I'm one of those players out there, and I know some of you out there are in this space as well, where I
Ne
often
lőjék
make
már
a
le
kind
nekem
of
itt a
feminine
body
character
készít,
in,
karakterkészítést,
when I
azt
play
én úgy
video
szeretem
games, and
felfedezni.
so I just love what options that we've been able to create there. Just so many awesome
Van ombre!
hairstyles to express
Van ombre
you know, a
haj!
character just the way that you want.
And speaking of hairstyles, is this a secondary hair color that I see, or you can choose your primary and secondary, so you've got
Hát
a
nem
two-tone
látom,
going
nem
there,
látom a
Olivia?
kamerájuktól van a hosszú kiengedett.
You can have a secondary, primary. Your eyebrows can be a different color. And to Aiden's point, where he was saying, you know, he usually likes to create a more feminine character. Something that I think is really cool with our game is that whether you have a masculine or feminine body type, you can wear whatever clothes you want. So you can have a masculine body type and wear a dress and have a feminine voice. You can have a feminine body type and wear pants, which is normal nowadays.
Kijelhetitek magatokat.
You know,
Bármit lehet bárhogy
it's
kombinálni,
really up to
látjátok?
you,
Lehetsz
how you
pasi
wanna customize your
csajhanggal és
So really, you
szoknyával.
have options. At the end
Akár
of the
egész
day,
nyugodtan.
limitless options. And I assume more will be added over time, as this is a living, breathing.
Absolutely. It's a live service game, and so that's one of the great things. You know, we're happy about the options that we're starting off with, but you know, this is day one from when the game first comes out. We're going to continue to add things into the future. So definitely, as players, you know, let us know what we're missing. We're excited to keep expanding this world over time.
Excellent. And our character, Maddie Mush, I believe is what the name was there, is looking so cute. So after Maddie Mush is created, what comes next?
So we're going to jump right into our introduction cinematic. No small amount of drama for how you enter the world of Palia. So let's check that out.
Yeah, we love drama. So what are we looking at here?
These are some ancient human ruins. It's a place that our Majiri, which are our kind of purple-skinned elf-like race, what they call the Phoenix Shrine. I wonder how they got that name, given the statue. And this is an archaeologist. Her name is
Milyen
Gina.
cuki az a gólem.
And she's exploring these ruins and has
Látjátok, na ez,
triggered a
hogy ilyen
magical
kis
event.
rózsaszín a bőre, hegyes a füle, ilyen faj
As we
lenni.
can see, there's
Nem
some
ilyen
magic
unalmas
brewing
ember.
up there.
Az akarok lenni, aki nem
There's
lehetek az
this,
életben.
sphere coming from the heavens. I wonder what we'll see.
I mean, that sphere of light looks very familiar. Maybe we saw it at the end of
might
the
have seen it.
character
Oh, look,
creator.
it's Mushy Maddie.
Oh my gosh,
Well,
it's
hooray.
you or me, one way or the other. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is your character opening their eyes for the first time and seeing this world, and a very surprised archaeologist looking at them.
Olivia, do we as the player know where we've come from? I mean, just the fact that we're kind of looking at our hands makes me think maybe this is a rebirth or an awakening of sorts.
Yeah, your
Különböző
character
válaszok
is
különböző
a brand
acsikat
new
adnak?
person.
Vagy acsikra?
So they somehow know how to speak, but other than that, you know, they haven't really experienced anything before. So this new home is brand new in their eyes.
And I
Igen, mindent
imagine
zoknia
our
van a csávónak
archaeologist who
jobb
was just
oldalon.
kind of examining some ruins is probably quite shocked at this point. Yes, Aiden?
Oh, absolutely. So while there are many humans entering the world of Palia across the landscape, this is the first time Gina's seen someone kind of come to life right before her eyes. So you have that kind of special connection to Gina right off the bat.
That's pretty impressive. All right, now I see it looks like we're starting to run through another area. Is this kind of our
Lehet ugrani, ez már
first
szarjáték,
look,
nem
as
lehet.
the character at the world of Palia?
Yeah, so this is where you're doing, getting adjusted to some of your basic movement. It looks like this player knows how to get their way around all right. But yeah, here's the big reveal as you go out into Kilima Valley itself.
Gorgeous. Look at that rainbow. Look at that mist. And I assume we will
De ez
be
már
able
most
to explore
kapásból nem
everything we're
tűnik,
looking at right now.
tehát hogy
It
látom,
is,
hogy van vége a
absolutely.
mapnak,
So,
és olyan szomorú.
run down to that
Legyen
town.
végtelen
That's going to
ma.
be the next step that we're going to go through here.
Okay, perfect. And does that town
Mehessek,
have a
amerre
name,
akarok.
Olivia?
Yeah, it is called Kilima Village. So the root word is similar to Kilimanjaro. It kind of just helps you pronounce it there. But it's a small town. Used to be a bigger trade hub, but kind of has dried up. Sleepy little town. We've got
Milyen
23
szép a jobb
people
felső
living
sarokban ez
there.
a nappal-éjszaka
And, you know,
ábrázolás.
I think
Ez
those
tök
like
szép.
small town vibes can be really cozy, which is a feeling that we want to evoke throughout the game, is like coziness.
Oh, it definitely feels cozy, and it feels like a world that I personally would love to explore and to live in, and I'm sure everyone watching feels the same way. Now, is Maddie
fura a
just
lombok
extra curious
mozgása.
in going to the village, or is there something that Maddie's trying to do right now?
So Gina has told Maddie that in order to kind of get their housing plot to get themselves set up, they need to talk to Ashura, the innkeeper. Ashura is kind of like the dad of the village. He used to be a war hero, but since then has become a pacifist and opened up this inn. And when the humans started emerging, he just kind of naturally took it
Amúgy
upon
tényleg
himself
rohadt
to help
alacsonyak
people
azok a
get set
kanapék,
up.
meg
The
székek,
inn's really
úristen,
small.
majd
It can't,
ha
house
visszaváltanak, látni
hundreds of
fogjátok, de
humans.
tényleg rohadt alacsonyak.
So he's getting him set up with a tent. And we're about to meet him just now.
Well, that's very kind of Ashura. I notice we're also walking past some other villagers. Maxwell, are you the type of player that when you first go into a game like Palia, you want to talk to all the villagers, or are you going right for the quest?
I do like to quickly chat and just get to know who I'm around,
ja.
and then I beeline it straight for, all right, let's get this going.
Így csak most lesz a
Yep.
close
And
Béta.
Ashura has quite an interesting look to him. So, Ambrielle, I'm going to ask you to kind of weigh in on the
Látjátok, ő is
character
hegyes
design of
fülű,
Ashura.
pink bőrű.
Oh yeah, I think
Irigy
Ashura's
vagyok.
design is really awesome. It's cool to see. He's got these tattoos. He's got a dog
Látszott,
tag
milyen
around his
alacsony?
neck, so
Tényleg
you can
rohadt
really
alacsony.
tell what his background was like. But he's got, the rolled up sleeves and the apron now. He's got a very soft
Nem lehet olyan
expression. So
kényelmes.
yeah, you can see where he came from, but also he's a nice father figure now, like Olivia said.
I love all the details of the character that you just see in the visual design. I think
De cuki, hogy
the
megcsinálták,
art
hogy
team
a
and
játék
the animation
textúra
team
van
has
ott
done a great
mögöttük,
job
vagy
bringing all that stuff to
játékból
life.
kép.
Really great.
So
Ott a
incredible,
map.
and so incredible of Ashura to welcome us as new players to this world. So I saw there, we took a look at a map really quickly, and then it took us to this new area. Is this just outside of the village, Aiden?
Yeah, so we did do a quick fast forward there, so no teleporting through space in
De itt
the game in
mindenki
quite
hegyes
that way.
fülű, pink.
But this is your housing plot. So this is really going to be where you have so much creative control as a player, where you eventually, start off with these kind of humble beginnings. It's overgrown, maybe
Négyféle ilyen cucc van,
not
ami-
aspirational to
amiből
start, but this is where so much of the creativity
Másfajta
comes through, and
pontokat
you can build
gyűjtesz,
this
hogyha
into the place of your
másfajta
dreams.
válaszokat adsz, vagy...
Oh, I love that. And who are we talking to now, Olivia?
This is Hodari, the miner. He's been working with Ashura to help get the housing plot set up. A nickname that our developers have for him is Hot Dari, if you can imagine why. It's a jawline. But right now he's just teaching you how to use your axe and your pickaxe to help clear this plot of land to put down your tent.
Okay, wonderful. And then does he provide us with the axe and the pickaxe, or is that something we need to craft?
That's something he provides you with. So you're going to get the axe and the pickaxe you see on your tool wheel down there, and then you're going to craft the tent.
Okay, and it looks like maybe we're clearing some space before we craft our tent. And for me, when I jump into a world like this, I'll clear just as much as I need to, but it looks like Maddie has cleared a whole plot. Aiden, what type of player are you? Clear the minimum or clear it all?
you know, you start off with this space inside of the fence, and I always feel inclined to just kind of tidy up a little bit before I jump back into the quest, you know? So I can really empathize with this player here, so.
I get it. Olivia, do you clear the full plot, or are you going right for placing the tent?
I go right for the minimum. In fact, sometimes I'll build the tent and realize I don't have a place to place it, and so I have to go back and just like clear a few things, and I take more time trying to do less work than I would if I just cleared a bunch from the beginning.
This is really cool what we're seeing here. So you just saw a glimpse of the grid, and so as soon as you like take an item that can be placed, that enters you into a placement mode, surprise, surprise. And you know, you can rotate items, and eventually this will get much more robust. You can even hide the grid and place things precisely exactly where you want them.
Oh, I love that. I also loved the various rotation options. I mean, it's not just 90-degree angles. You can really get in there and make it fancy if you want to. So it looks like Maddie has made a workbench and has started crafting. And what is Maddie working on now?
So it's a storage chest, really important. You're going to be collecting a lot of different items in Palia. It's a good thing to make pretty early on. And you know, as you're collecting things, one of the really cool things we added pretty early on is you can actually use the crafter and craft materials straight out of your storage bin without having to pull them out yourself. So just a little quality of life feature to keep things kind of streamlined in the crafting experience.
That's lovely. And I see a new interface that we're looking at right now. What is this point of view?
So when you're customizing, there are two main views. You can do things in the 3D space, but for really large objects, it's really helpful to use that top-down view that you, by default, use the H key there, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. Wonderful. And that allows you to just kind of flip in and out. What's the best way to customize? You want to get a different look at things? Trying to give you options.
And I love that you said for really large items, we are able to start Paleo with a pretty large tent.
It's kind of surprisingly large, isn't it? Yeah. You're like, oh, I think I could actually put stuff up in here. You know, wanted to give you some space where you can actually, you know, make it your own.
Yeah, well, that's very generous that we get to start off with that. So thank you, Ashura and Hodari, for setting us off on a good first footing.
It's more like glamping than camping, you know?
It is definite glamping. Okay, so that was awesome to take a look at. After this, can we go back into Kilima Village and take a tour? I know we saw a little bit of it when we first went through to meet Ashura, but let's really take a deep dive into Kilima Village.
Na mi van, Jesus, már úgy beszélsz a játékról, mint a
Okay, so after you're done with the tutorial, you're able to just kind of jump right back into the action, and you're able to choose from like a variety of different activities. You can go and you can meet all the villagers, or you can start with our skills gameplay. I think this player may be about to talk to Ani, who's our delivery boy. He's very high energy, very excited that the humans are back as the most exciting thing to ever happen to him, because you know he's just this little boy who lives in a small town and dreams of doing big things. Now it looks like we're going back over to the inn. Reth is the cook who works at the inn, and you can buy food from him. You can also go over and chat with him. He is one of our romanceable characters. If you're interested in dating him. I saw some meme that was like all like women secretly just want a line cook, fairy prince, or something else, and I was like, line cook covered.
Honestly, Olivia, there's so many interesting characters that we've seen already in the game. I was going to ask you if they're romanceable, so thank you. Thank you for answering that question that I'm sure is burning within a lot of us. But yes, dating a cook. I think there's a lot of folks. So what else are we seeing here in Kilima Village?
Oh no, it's hard to keep up. I mean, we're running by all these activities, and you know, one of the really awesome things about Palia is, you know, while we have main quest lines that you can be chasing after, it's also one of those games where, you know, the game puts the main story in front of you, and half the players just go left and keep running that way. And, you know, really the choice is up to you. We really wanted to make a game you could play the way that you wanted to play. But of course, skills are a big part of that, no matter where you go. And so it looks like we're doing a little insect catching here to get started.
Insect catching, very nice. Now, would we be catching insects because they have a worth in this world, or are we using it as a crafting component, maybe?
You know, we get into a little of each there,
Meg kell
but definitely they're
bénító begezni, vagy
valued
nem
by some people out in the world of Palia, and there are of course more common ones, more rare ones, so you're going to have to search high and low across different times a day to really try and find and complete a collection.
Awesome. So bug catching is definitely something we can do in this
Skill
world.
szintet,
I
aha.
kind of saw there your menu for switching back and forth. Is that between different skills?
Absolutely. So that wheel allows you to really quickly just switch what equipment you have on. You'll find very frequently in Palia, you might start with a particular mission that you leave your housing plot to go out and do, but then you end up doing so many other activities that just pop up all around you, and so we really needed a way for the players to kind of hot switch between those various activities as you go, as different opportunities kind of present themselves.
As the player that gets distracted by every single shiny, I appreciate that
Otta, Robi.
immensely. All right,
Horgász,
Olivia,
Robi.
where are we headed next? It looks like we might maybe do some fishing.
Yeah, we're at the docks. We passed by my favorite NPC to write, which is Einar the fishing golder, and we'll learn a little bit more about him later.
Van ilyen
But right now we're
halhely,
just
ahova be kell
engaging in our
dobni.
fishing minigame, which is super fun, super relaxing. I think it feels a lot like fishing, and it's not as frustratingly hard as some fishing mini games are. Although, if you're trying to get the chase fish, it can get a little bit difficult. But you're just kind of
Jó, szóval szívás lesz a horgász.
trying to line that little parenthesis up with the fish.
We call it the safe zone internally. You know, that's one of those things. I'm like, the player base will think of a name, and no matter what we call it, it'll stick whatever they decide.
Hát
to
azt mondta, hogy
I'm
lehet
the
ilyen
writer, so
nehéz
it's a
is, nem? Hogy ilyen
There we go.
minigémes
It
pecázós.
makes
Főleg,
total
hogyha
sense,
olyan
but
kist
Olivia,
fogsz
you
ki,
said
amilyen
the
nehezebb.
fishing game is kind of a nice
Nem.
balance of not
Nem.
overly challenging, but there
Nem
is
azt
some
mondta.
difficulty scale there.
Yeah, you know, we're really going for that easy to learn, difficult to master kind of vibe.
Aj, de pedig lehetne nehezebb.
And yeah, it's
Akkor én félreértettem,
all
én
of
azt
the fish,
értettem, hogy
like if you're just trying to kind of complete your fish collection, are pretty easy to
lehet,
get. But once you get
nehéz
into
olyan
the star
bizonyos
quality
halaknál.
fish, which are the ones you can display in your housing plot, those get a little bit harder to catch.
I see. So we have different difficulty levels of fish. It's all making sense now. I love a good fishing mini game, so I've got lots of questions there, but we'll move on. It looks like Maddie is running around outside, maybe doing a little bit more insect catching. Are there other things we can... Oh, I see a shiny. There we go. I just answered my own question. What are we collecting at this point?
This is a sundrop lily, which is one of our forageables that can be used
Azért van 8
for
cucc, amit így
crafting
fejleszteni
furniture,
kell,
like if you
basszus.
want to dye something, that pretty orange color. It can also be used
Horgászás,
as a gift for
főzés,
villagers.
növényezés,
Oh,
bányászás,
I'm
vadászás,
anticipating the gifting villagers
bogarazás,
is a way
és
to
nem
maybe
tudom, mi
gain
volt a
favor
másikat.
with them, but I'll put a pin in the romance discussion for now. We'll get to that a little bit more later. But I see that Maddie is collecting quite a few things at the bottom. Can you kind of talk to me a little bit about the
elég kihívás.
interface that we're looking at there in the lower right-hand
Nem
corner?
elég nagy
Yeah,
kihívás.
so that's your inventory. Basically, at any given time, you can actually customize the number of action bars you have down at the bottom and flip between them as you want. But this is kind of like the hot selection options that you have. So, you know, if you need to eat something, which you can see our bar at the top for kind of keeping track of, you know, what your focus bar
Nem
is.
tetszik amúgy.
And otherwise, it's just a way to keep track of what you have, and if your inventory is starting to
A
get too
vágás
full.
van még, meg
Okay, perfect. And I see here in this player menu, we're looking at skill levels. We've got our tools. We've got some of those items there. What should players be really paying attention to when they look at that menu?
Hát ez ilyen chill game.
So one of the big things on the
Chill
bottom left
farm.
is you can see all your skills. Each of those
Yeah.
have their own level associated with them. And particularly in the early game, every time that you're leveling one of those, you're going to want to go back to the skill master associated with that skill, because they're going to have some cool rewards, new gameplay, new content for you to access as you progress through there.
Excellent. Yeah, there's a lot to look at there, but I'm sure it will become commonplace the more time we get to spend in Palia. So it looks like Maddie is kind of splitting her time between a couple different activities. And do you recommend that folks kind of jack of all trades it in terms of skills, or really specialize in one specific skill and then, you know, perhaps trade or use that to their advantage? Olivia?
I think that you can really play either way. I tend to do a little bit of everything because for some reason it feels like cheating to not actually get the things that I was supposed to use in a crafting recipe or for a quest. But you can also just
Én csak azt nem tudom, hogy
specialize in one
lesz benne
thing
annyi
and then
content.
trade that stuff for gold, or you can ask other players for things. There's tons of different ways to play.
And I imagine that we have various quests that kind of walk us through familiarizing ourselves with these various skills.
Correct. We have
Na miért jön
a
Nintendo-ra
bunch
elsőnek
of different
Martin?
NPCs are like
Mit
heads of our
puffogsz?
guild.
Hát
So I'm head of the fishing guild,
Nice.
Audie's head of the bug catching guild, and we have quests with those characters to help you learn those skills.
Perfect. So once we've gotten all our skill levels up, how do we go in and build the house of our dreams? Let's see.
So you can see we've kind of fast forwarded in time again here a bit, and we've got a, reasonably progressed house, something aspirational. We've definitely moved beyond the tent phase here. And again, we're kind of jumping between those different housing customization views in order to, build things out just the way we want. In this case, the player is looking at the kind of attachment points between their buildings and the walls on the outside, which allow you to, if on the inside, do you want there to be no wall between the rooms? Do you want there to be a small door, like a double door? And this is something that you'll also unlock more options for over time. Same thing with the windows on the outside. You can go no windows all the way up to, really nice customized big things.
Did we just put an addition on our house?
Absolutely. So that's also one of the big things you're seeing. Again, mentioned that this is kind of an early game. You can have a mansion if that's where you want to take this experience to, add a bunch of additions to it. But yeah, as you add those, acquire new rooms within the city hall, you have to build those and go through some of the craft time associated with it. It's also a nice thing to have your friend come out and help you get through.
Now, when you mention craft time, is that in-game time? Is that real-world time? How does that work?
So for the buildings, once you've gotten the materials there is a real-world craft time associated with it. Generally, there's a little bit of time associated with bigger things in the world.
Excellent. And I saw we just kind of added this whole addition to our home. But if you wanted to get really granular and do it, just by doing the walls yourself and really get in there and customize, that's an option too, correct?
Right, so you can kind of change the connections between them. You can also customize the wallpaper, the flooring, and of course decor, interior customization. That's something that is really rich in Palia. We have hundreds of items for you to find, and you can really put them throughout your house just the way you want to.
I wish that in real life you could add an addition to your house this quickly.
De ez tök személy.
It's like 4 hours, like that'd be great.
Just some wood and some stone. Man, I'll do that any day.
Yeah, it took me months to convert my garage, so.
Wood and stone in 4 hours, perfect. I agree, that would be lovely. All right, it looks like Maddie is going inside so we can see some of these interiors that you were talking about and some of these interior options.
Nagyon tetszenek a bútorok. Nézzétek meg azt a cicapárnát. Nagyon jó berendezés tárgyak vannak. Nagyon tetszenek.
So this player is pretty advanced, pretty far into the game. So they have some of our more chase furniture items. Ambriel, maybe you could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Over time, you can, like Aiden mentioned, collect hundreds of different decor and furniture items. So yeah, this player has gotten some pretty rare stuff.
Na, ő még nem is
so they're probably investing a lot in this crafting system, learning to make some pretty high-tier recipes, and maybe spending a little time at the underground market, picking up some super rare
A bútorokat
stuff.
rögtön megcsinálja.
We'll get into the underground in a bit, but magic is a bit taboo in this world. So if you want magic items or you want some kind of, more expensive art that might have fallen off a truck, we have a cool underground market.
Oh, I love that whole thing exists in this world. Like you said, we'll have to get more into that a little later. But I also love that Maddie is able to craft furniture items, it looks like right now. And that's a skill in and of itself. So it's not just a currency-based type of thing to get furniture, you gather the resources or trade for them, and then you craft your own furniture.
Garden chop.
That's really cool. So what is Maddie making right now?
So the Choppa is one of been the most popular characters as we've been developing the game, and so of course there are a ton of Choppa themed items, wallpapers, all sorts of things
Choppa,
that
az
you
a
can
cica
find
lesz, az
in
árus
that
cica.
theme. And
Nézzétek, ott nő a
of
répa
course
balra.
then you can use those to customize your house
Ó,
just
de
the way
cuki
that
kis
you want.
lámpásos
How beautiful.
növény.
And
Ó, ez
again,
nagyon
look at these
cuki.
placement options. So Olivia, kind of walk us through, once you've created something, what is the process to then place it in the world?
It's pretty straightforward. You can either have the in-world view,
Ott a csapa!
like what you're seeing now, where you just click on the item,
De ez nem
and
az
you
a
can move it
macska, ez nem
along,
tudom mi.
select on the grid, or you can actually place anything in that top-down view, which sometimes like a really big piece like the gazebo, I kind of prefer to do in the top-down view.
Totally.
Very cool. And this house looks so beautiful. I feel like Maddie, yes, is making this house gorgeous for herself, but also maybe wants to have friends over and entertain. How does that work as far as if you wanted friends to come over your house, or maybe there are friends that you don't want to come over your house?
Nekem tetszik.
So permissions are a
Főleg a
huge deal.
házberendezés.
If you remember that
Remélem, hogy
top-down view,
végtelen bútor van, meg ilyen
there's a
szarok.
pull-down menu at the top there where you can set permissions on a per-player basis. And so by default, you know, a visitor just has a small number of activities that they can do with you on the plot, but you can upgrade them to editor status, which allows them to do things like move things around in your space, so that you can really kind of share in this customization and home experience together. It's also one other really important part here is, you know, while you might spend a ton of time making this particular housing plot just perfect, you might have other people that maybe you have a totally different vision, a totally different fantasy that you want to chase together. And so we actually have the option where you can have multiple housing plots and set different permissions for other players on each of them. So a lot of control for the kind of like social access and experience that you're having with other players in the game.
I love that. And so there's no like PvP where someone can come destroy my home after I've crafted it just the way I want to.
No, you know, you're giving somebody, if you give somebody editor status, they can move things around. So it is something, you know, you want to give to somebody that you trust and you want to have, you know, that kind of shared experience with. But there's no way that they can come in and destroy items of yours. There's not a lot of destruction happening in PALIA.
Okay, great. We're keeping it cozy and friendly.
Absolutely. Cozy vibes going throughout everywhere.
Getting this hanging plant exactly where Maddie wants it here so that the entryway looks perfect. I am here for it.
Kiváltható pofi veregetés, hogyne?
Multiple plots. Is there a limit to that at this moment?
It's definitely more than two.
So
yeah.
Nekem azért, mert 2 napja nem aludtam ki, mondom, azért ragad le a szemem. Most kéne egy jó energiaital.
I like that. Town of plots.
De aztán nem tudnék aludni este szerintem.
I also, in games like this, really enjoy gardening, and I think a lot of folks watching can probably relate to that. So what do we have in terms of gardening? Olivia, walk us through what we're seeing.
Ez gardening, és még volt a multiplayer. De szerintem amúgy csak egy órás lesz ez maximum.
Then you get the hoe that allows you to till. I like how like therapeutic
ez tök jól néz ki, hogy így csinálja.
You know, it's very tactile. After that, you can plant your seeds. Maddie has a good variety of seeds. She's got tomatoes, she's got onions, she's got carrots.
Most tudjátok, melyik játék jutott eszembe? A Dreamlight-ról.
Rotate your crops like that is you actually can get buffs.
Meg kéne vennem azt a játékot. Rohadtul elcsilleznék benne.
So if you're a min-maxer, you can do that.
Nem, hogy itt rákot kapjak a sok szar játéktól. Inkább azzal kéne játszanom off-stream.
There's a lot of freedom in our gardening system, which I really like.
All right, I want to hear more about min-maxing.
De jó nézne, hogy így felássa.
When it comes to, are these things we have to self-discover in the game, or do we get clues throughout PALIA about where to?
Most van 300 forintos Game Pass, igen, de mindenkinek?
I think Maxwell might do a good job of answering that.
Yeah, we try to make sure players are able to discover this themselves and expose that information. It's not hidden to you. And so we see the examine key there. Like, if you press, again, default G, you'll be able to see the buffs that are being shared, as well as if you look at the seeds in your inventory, it'll give you a little hint about what to expect if you plant it next to a different crop. So.
Okay, great. And I see the bars as we're planting seeds. I saw the bars above that. What is that showing us?
That's the watering. So here we go.
Basszus, még meg kell tölteni a
Get
kannát
some water
vízzel.
in her watering can, and then hop on over and make sure that the plants are well watered and ready to grow.
Well taken care of. The seeds will not grow if the soil is not watered. This is perfect. So is this done one square at a time? Is there a way to kind of water multiple, or is that getting into spoiler territory and we shouldn't talk about that today?
I think we could talk about it. Yeah, starting out, we're going to give you some simple tools to get you going, but as you engage in the various skills, eventually you'll be able to craft higher tier of each of the tools. And so, you'll get a better watering can that will have maybe a wider cone to water crops and make it a little bit easier, because you'll also get more soil plots, so you'll have a lot more plants to be taken care of at some point.
Level up.
Yep, level up.
Level it up. Now I see we're harvesting. When we harvest, do we have to start again from the seed phase?
Hamar megnőtt az a répa, vagy
How does
felgyorsították?
that work, Aiden?
Yeah, it's definitely something that typically you'll start again, so you have to put seeds down. You can get seeds from a variety of sources in the game, buying them at the stores, kind of like the default basic. But we also have different kinds of seeds, like our tomato plants. You see, we just harvested those, and they're going to regrow again. So you actually don't have to go back to the starting phase until you've done several harvests on a tomato plant.
This is where the min-maxers have spent a lot of time trying to spreadsheet out their plots to figure out how they can maximize kind of their earnings over a period of time.
It was really cool in the alpha to see players making these grids of how they were min-maxing the various spaces and kind of sharing that information. There was like a whole template that got
is mondta, hogy
developed
neki
for people
is
thinking about
valamiért
this.
300
And of
forinton be
course,
van akadva,
this is a live
mit tudom
service
én, nekem
game, so
soha
it's
többet
going to
nem
continue
volt
to evolve.
300-as
So expect
ajánlat,
us to shuffle
szerintem.
up that meta from time to time.
Yep.
And I love how much you guys, saying y'all as Singularity 6, really do listen to the community and take that player feedback. So when you get grids and stuff like that, when you see players sharing those kind of things in the alpha, do any of those things ever make it into the game?
Oh, absolutely. It would be hard to understate
Aha,
the
itt is úgy
impact
van.
of
Melyik
the
volt az a
alpha
játék,
phase
amikor most
that
utoljára
we've been
Jesus-szel
in.
játszottam?
We've done
Jesus, itt is ilyen
multiple
ládába kell
external
bepakolni
playtests through
a
that,
cuccot, és
gotten so
eladódik.
much great feedback, ideas. It's something that we pay a ton of attention to. So I really just wanted to say for a moment, thank you for everyone who has playtested and helped improve PALIA over time.
Én játszottam volna, csak nem
and for those of
adtatok
you who haven't
kódot,
gotten to be a part of it yet, we've just been developing this arm
Én
and
teszteltem volna,
getting adjusted
ikonaiktelen.
to having players be part of the experience, and this is something that's going to continue
nem
as we go
adtak
into the
nekem
beta
kezdte.
phase.
That's awesome. Thank you, everyone. Ambriel, because we didn't get your input on gardening.
Az a szar az ilyen tesztelése, hogy aztán így kijátszod, megunod. Aztán amikor kijön, már nem lesz izgi.
You don't have to replant tomatoes, and that's really nice. I think you've got to have a good variety.
Nem is fognak, micsoda kifogad-e.
It's fun because if you want your garden to be super aesthetic,
Én még az ikonaiban találkoztam vele
whatever
először.
you want, and you're not going to get any downsides. There's no harm in just planting
Azok ilyen kis
all tomatoes if
macskafejek,
you
azok
think that
milyen?
looks beautiful. But yeah, mixing in Magium gives you some fun bonuses.
Időnyerő van a
So whether you're going
nyakában.
for beauty or
Időnyerő, láttátok?
min-maxing or a little bit of both, you'll be all set. All right, we touched on some of the villagers that live in Kilima Village, and I'd love to do a bit of a more of an in-depth look at those villagers if we could. So let's walk through some of the villagers that we will meet in Kilima Village.
Na, itt van Csopa. Ez a Csopa.
Describe who we're talking to
Csappa.
right now.
This is Zeki. He is a Grimulkin. The Grimulkins are cats from outer space. They're like
a faja lehet, hogy Csappa,
libertarian
nem?
space pirates. And
Nála kell növelni
they
a
run, in addition to the regular store, Zeki also runs the Kilima
De milyen
branch
kaján
of
vigyor
the
van a
Grimulkin
képén, mint
Underground, and
Moneybagnek.
that's where you can get cool magical items, maybe some more high-tech stuff, because remember they are from space. So if you want some technology that's not
De 4 füle van, most nézem, én azért volt fura, 4 füle van.
would usually be available in like a small village. You can get that from the underground as well. But he's like one of my favorite characters to write. I love his animations. I love his sense of humor.
And Olivia, as our lore expert here on the panel, can you tell us again why some items might be more underground than others?
So I think I mentioned earlier, magic in Palia is a bit taboo. They grew up in the shadows of this human civilization that crumbled, and they were a highly magical civilization. And so they have interpreted this as magic is dangerous.
Okay.
And so it's very regulated, and Zeki is against regulations, so whatever. It looks like we've gone to the city hall. This is Kenyatta. She's the daughter of the mayor, and she's kind of a rebellious teenager. She's been given this job as a way to learn responsibility, but she's pretty bored. She does not want to be working here. But the player coming and talking to her is a good break in her day. So she always is welcoming the players when they come by City Hall.
Now, is Kenyatta also a romanceable option?
De ugye csapa a kedvencem
mindenkinek. So cool.
She is, and she has a very fun romance plot. We were very excited to write her romance.
Majd bealszol, mert 2 napja nem tudsz aludni a szomszédaitól. Igyál egy kis Pepsit, az felpörget.
She is the daughter of the mayor. He's like this kind of bumbling politician character, and the magistrate, who's his more strict, sort of upper crust, Victorian aristocracy wife.
She knows how to get things done.
She's great. I love Első.
I love that. Well, Ambrielle, I'm going to pick your brain on Kenyatta's look.
Amúgy lehet, de pedig most is ettem csokit, és csak beálmosodtam.
Her style is so cool. And now we're looking at Olivia, who I said, you had said earlier, might be one of your favorite characters.
Na mi az? Bétába jöhettek játszani vele, ha meg nem akarjátok venni majd.
Golders are basically robots made by the ancient humans, but they've been kind of hanging around Palia for thousands of years. And they were all programmed with something called the oneness. And that's the one thing in the world that makes them happy. So Einar loves to fish. We have another Galder who loves to take care of people. She used to be a nanny back in the day, so she's very caring, very loving. And we have a lot of fun Galder.
Ez a csávó egyébként ilyen Daniel Radcliffe, Robert Pattinson keverék kinézete van.
It has become a little bit disconnected. So if there was a Galder who wanted to, or who was made to build houses, now they might say stack rocks by the beach and watch them fall. Because
igen, igaz, de 10-től open beta van.
So I think that it's a cool way to kind of talk about that one thing that you really love and how that can evolve over time.
I love that. So it's they're programmed with a passion,
yes,
but not with an end goal.
Exactly.
And we're going to see some really fun ways that the lore will play with this kind of concept over time. So it's interesting.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things that the writing team has had fun playing.
Ja, mész gödörbe. Mondom, milyen gödörbe mész? Jesus! Azt mondja, én megyek gödörbe.
So I asked if we had different romanceable villagers that we can speak to in Killing a Village, and let's really get into this. How can I be friends with the folks I meet in Palia?
Akkor reménykedjük, hogy kapsz.
There are several ways to kind of gain friendship points. This is our friendship tracker. So you can see that Maddie is friendship level 2 with Ashura right now. But there's several ways of getting to know them.
Azt a gelt fel kell szedni, a gelt kell felszedni,
chat. Once every Palian day, which resets every hour. You can also give them gifts. Once every real world day, and they have these special gifts that they like called weekly wants, and those you can discover through talking to the villagers what they want that week, or you can even talk to their friends. So if you're talking to Gina, she might tell you what her best friend Hekla wants.
Na hát Jesus, akkor még találós lett volna mész a gödörbe.
And then you can give that to them for extra points.
Egy jót.
That's really cool that you can get to know their friends. It makes it feel like a living, breathing society that you're a part
jöjjön
of.
már a multiplayer.
That's awesome. Ambrielle, question for you. When you play games like Palia, or when you're playing Palia, do you like to focus on friendship and society first and foremost, or do you like to focus on your gardening and your home?
Ott vannak az imótok, a lényeg, ott az imót, meg a sztor egymás mellett.
In life, I'm more of an introvert, and so I'm usually focused a little bit more on skills, a little bit more on building my house, but like Olivia, My first priority is becoming best friends with A&R, and after that, mostly focused on the house.
This isn't too much a spoiler because you learned it early on, but Einar will always accept shiny.
Ha már az életben soha nem lehet házumcset, mert olyan árak vannak, akkor legalább itt lehessen a páliában.
I'm pretty much always holding at least one, just in case the timer's up.
So
A Pália nevezetű játék, az ilyen kis...
has their own friendship meter. Are they all romanceable?
Kraftolós,
They're not all
csillezős.
romanceable. They're all friendable. So we wanted the
Ez most Twitch-en amúgy megy. Twitch-en megy nekik ez a...
characters to actually be through their friendship. Because you can have like really great relationships with people that you're not romantically involved with, right?
Sure, of course.
Első ilyen gameplay, meg elmagyarázza, hogy mi hogy van a játékban.
Is their friendship, but certain characters also have a separate romance meter you can unlock. Once you're close enough friends with them, you can give them a romantic gift and enter into that romance, and that unlocks a new story.
And you can always see that on the UI, you know, which ones have the romance option that you can unlock. So if you want to check, you know, definitely an easy spot.
Ha nem is akartok ezzel játszani, muszáj lesz. Ha partner leszek, chat, ezt játszani kell.
So it's always something we're adding.
And if you want to unlock all the quests, I like to tick off all the boxes. Is it possible to romance more than one character within Palia?
És fel lehet szedni az NPC-ket, akkor lehet randizni az NPC-ket, csak mondom.
The game we're in right now,
lehet velük barátkozni, és fel is lehet őket szedni.
It kind of like as far into a romantic relationship you can get is kind of like the early courting stage.
Aki nem játszik, az van.
So you're allowed to romance as many people in that stage as you want.
Most nézem, hogy milyen tök jobban van fonva a csajhaja, tök jó.
Something called a pin, which means they really like you. And then you can wear that pin and people will comment on, oh, you're dating so-and-so, that's awesome. And you can equip...
Nekem ez nem állna ilyen jó, mert nincs hajam.
That is the cutest thing I've ever heard, and I'm here for it. All right, so as I said, I love to go on quests, whether they're romanceable quests, non-romanceable quests. So let's go ahead and go on a quest and see what that looks like. So for Maxwell, describe to us where we're going right now and what we're about to see.
Yeah, so we're jumping into a quest a little bit into the game now where the player, as they've been exploring kind of these ancient ruins, has come upon a bit of a barrier for themselves, and they've been directed to find Najuma, who, Olivia, if you want to give a quick intro for Najuma.
Yeah, Najuma is the miner's daughter, so Hodari's daughter, and she is kind of a shy teenager, and she's an inventor, but a lot of her inventions are kind of dangerous, so her dad doesn't really like her doing that kind of stuff. But one of the things she's invented is a glider, and Gina knows about this glider, the archaeologist, so she is told to hunt down Najuma to build a glider so that you can kind of explore those ruins further.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna have to make this glider, we're gonna have to go do a little bit of gameplay and find some materials.
Okay, perfect. And is there a reason that Najuma is the one who is like the keeper of the glider, if you will?
It's just because it was her invention.
Got it.
So that's the way, she's the only one who knows how to make them.
I see, but soon we will learn how to make them. So Maddie is now gathering the resources, yes, and we'll gather the resources needed, and then where do we go from there, Maxwell?
Yeah, so looks like we're gonna do it the hard way and manually go through, chop some trees. We need to get some leather, so that means we're gonna have to do a little bit of hunting. And then lastly, get some fabric, which we can grow cotton at the home plot. So we're collecting everything we can here, and I think once we get that, we'll be able to go back and use some of our auto crafters on the home plot to make the final pieces required. So.
Now, when you said Maddie's doing this the hard way, that leads me to believe that you would play this differently?
Yeah, I hate growing cotton myself, so I tend to just buy it from Tish's shop and jump straight ahead and make this quest a little easier myself.
Got it. And you buy it from the shop because you're trading it, or how does that work?
Yeah, so a number of our NPCs or villagers run shops, and we try to make sure that players always have an option available to them if they don't want to engage in a particular system. So in this case, you know, I don't really like to make the fabric myself, so I'll go to her shop and just get it myself.
Play the way you want to play.
Play the way you want to play.
Nincs is benne sok állat, nem van benne őzike, meg nyuszi,
with a game that you're going to exist in for tens, potentially hundreds of hours, having the option to play the way you want to play is really important.
Absolutely. It's been a core part that we tried to build into PALIA kind of throughout the experience the whole time. So, and also the alphas really helped us kind of tune in parts of that just, you know, to the right balance.
Excellent. And I see it looks like we're really putting together this glider piece by piece. Olivia, how do we make a glider if it's not too much of a spoiler?
It's not. Right now you're making wood planks with our autocrafter system.
Van ilyen bőrmegmunkálás,
Max will
van
probably tell you a
ilyen
little bit more
favágó
about how the autocrafters work, but you're going to be making fabric and planks and like all the leather and all the ingredients you need for the glider.
Yeah, and so a player over time will acquire a number of autocrafters in various skills to help them refine the raw materials they collect out in the world and turn it into higher tier objects that they can make furniture with, or we saw earlier like adding that addition to the house, which requires you to get the planks created.
Decemberben meg elvileg jön Switchre, csak hogy miért Switchre először, azt nem tudom, de Switchre.
So we've got a bunch of things going at the same time here. Do we finally have everything we need to make this glider, or we have a couple steps left?
I think we just have to get all the items back to Najuma so that she can put it together.
Yeah, it looks like we skipped ahead here. All the autocrafters work on a real-time system, so there is a little bit of time once you put your stuff in there that you'll have to wait. But
you know what, I like that because there's so much to do in PALIA that if I have to wait 5 minutes for leather, then that means I can go out and touch or do some hunting, or put some time into another skill that I may not have had the time to invest in before. So I feel like it's really encouraging a really mixed gameplay experience, yes?
Yeah, it's also a great opportunity if you maybe want to take a break at a time. You can load up your autocrafters, take the break, come back, and things will be ready for you.
Any bio breaks? Come on, who needs that? Who needs that? All right, we're back to Najuma now. We've got all the supplies. So now Najuma is going to assemble this forest. You said this isn't something we need to craft on the workbench?
Yeah, so the things that you craft in the workbench are things that you can craft an infinite number of times. The glider you only craft once, so Najuma does it for you.
That's awesome. All right, now you talk about maybe fishing or playing together. I certainly want to play with my friends in multiplayer. Can we talk about how multiplayer works within PALIA? Ambriel.
Yeah, there's tons of things that you can do in PALIA with your friends, and most of them are better for it. All of the skills that we looked at previously have some bonuses for buddying up, like we're seeing here.
Okay, so we're buddying up and doing it together, and do we share the resources that we're gathering here? Is there a shared loot system? How does that work?
Yeah, so anytime you're playing with friends or even just random folks in the world, as long as you participate in the activity, we want to make sure everyone gets the same kind of rewards. So we've got 2 players here that are chopping the tree. Both of them receive a loot pile that they can pick up and acquire. And that holds true across all of our various skills. So we really want to make sure players don't feel like they are kind of taking away from another player and allow them to join up and have fun together.
Great, that makes sense. And I think I'm seeing, now that Taylor and Natty are teamed up here, they're chopping down these trees twice as fast. So is there a world where I could get 5 or 6 friends together to really just go through a whole area and we're all getting the loot? So it's just like a great way to get lots of loot.
Definitely possible.
Van jól felébredsz. Ez azért várom, hogy ott felébredjek
do
tényleg,
what they
mert
call deforestation
ja, most
efforts
streamben nem
on the
tudom.
map,
Max
where they'll group together and try to clear
amikor ilyen
out a
hosszú
zone.
stream van, akkor
We also have a couple
opportunities
where we really want you to join with some friends. So you may see certain trees out in the wilderness that you're going to need to partner up to really take out.
Oh wow, like just like a really massive tree.
Massive tree, or maybe something a little magical.
Oh, I love it. Okay, no more spoilers. I'll be quiet on that one. It looks like Maddie and Taylor now are fishing. Is there more to fishing together than just having really great conversations, or is it, kind of like being away from the keyboard where you're fishing with a friend over, over a drink or something like that?
Yeah, as long as you fish near another player, you actually both start to receive a little bit of a buff while playing. We also have an option where, and I love doing this, but if someone's struggling with the fishing minigame, and you're able to walk up to them, you can give them a little bit of encouragement to help save them in that moment and help them catch the fish. And it's a really great, lovable moment that people can do together.
Can multiple people offer fishing encouragement to one player?
Yep. You can all join in and try to, cheer them on and make sure that they succeed.
All right, I feel like next time I'm in Palia, I want to get a bunch of friends together and just
De
be the
ahogy
fishing cheering
viszed,
squad
nem
and
tudom.
applaud
Pontosan, hogy lehet
everyone
azt
so
irányítani.
that they can catch whatever fish they like. I think that's maybe the way I'm gonna.
Azért nem
play
tűnik
it,
olyan
moving it
egyszerű.
forward. Ambrielle, have you had any experience with the cheering on friends in fishing?
Oh yeah, especially like we've been talking about, the minigame is a little tricky to get the hang of because it's not super simple. And once you get in there, it's definitely approachable. But yeah, some of those more rare fish, the ones with stars, they're pretty hard to catch. And so it's always great to run by, cheer for your friends. Even more fun when you don't know the player, to just run by and have a nice little moment and then carry on with what you're doing.
I always go and clap someone whenever I see them catch a fish. I'll just run up and clap and then walk away.
Just a little random act of kindness to bring positivity to someone's day.
Absolutely.
I'm here for it. So I mean, at least with gathering
De itt
so
amúgy
far, with
nem is az, hogy
fishing,
együtt
the things
pecázza,
we've
csak
seen,
egymás
do
mellett,
you think
szóval
it's
itt így
safe
nincsen
to
közös
say
pecázás.
that, you know, Palia can be made even better with friends, if you will? It's fun single player, but when you pair up with friends, you're getting more rewards faster, you're getting that positivity in fishing.
Ez nem
Is
tudom,
it
de
safe to
nagyon
say that?
cukin néz
Yeah,
ki.
absolutely. That's been one of our core philosophies in designing any of the skills is that, you know, we want you to be able to do things by yourself, but we really want to make sure it's better when you engage
Ja, hogy
with other players.
odavonza a
And,
lepkéket, és így el
an
lehet
example
kapni
here that we're
őket.
seeing, this is the honey lure, which is a later stage item in the game for our insect catching skill. It's open to anyone to come in, and so players that acquire these and craft them, they usually like to call out in the servers of like, hey, I've got a honey lure, anyone want to join up and we'll catch some insects? And so anyone can come in and start to, you know, jump into this party where you can see in the screen there's tons of insects just showing up now. And they can also combo if, you know, one of the rare insects show up here and try to catch it together, so.
And how would you combo to catch an insect?
Yeah, so as long as
Hozom
you
mindjárt
try to throw
celluxot.
your smoke bomb at one of the insects with your friend, you'll be considered as participating in that, and we'll reward you on it. And each time a player adds their smoke bomb to it, we give a little bit of an extra chance to catch the insect.
We also just have different smoke bomb types. So you might just have a basic one, and you might have a special one that has some sort of effect on the bug that makes it easier to catch.
Yes.
Okay, so pairing up with friends who have special smoke bombs is the pro tip I'm hearing right now. And now we're moving into hunting together. Ambrielle, what would be the benefit of hunting
De
together?
ez a hunting
Yeah,
together, mert tényleg
so
ez a
if you have
horgász, ez
terrible
nem
aim like
semmi.
me,
nem?
it is helpful to have someone with better aim come with you, or even two people with bad aim. You'll get there. We're pretty forgiving with the hitboxes,
lövésből
but
meghalnak.
you can sneak up on these Sernuk for, depending on the tier of your bow and how skilled you are in
Nem, ez
hunting, they're going to
letámadt
take more
volna.
than one shot, which means you're going to be really running around, and they're very fast and hard to keep up with. So having two shots or even more in a hunting party can really help, especially in the early game.
Okay, and I'm guessing that this works similar to insect catching, where anyone who participates in the hunting may get credit and may get the overall loot and resource for hunting, correct?
Correct. As long as you're trying to
Igen,
take
igen,
that
mert
shot,
nem
we'll
nehéz.
count it.
Awesome. And
Meg nem
I
is tart
see some
sokáig,
farming
egy favágás
together.
sem,
Are
meg
we
semmi.
gardening together just to get it done faster? Is that the thought here?
Yeah, so
Faster,
you
de
can
egyébként
always
sem
join your friend's
lassú.
house at their house and help them do a little bit of gardening by watering their crops or tilling their soil.
But I assume that it's not the same style of shared loot when it comes to harvesting, because you don't want everyone to come and harvest all your crops.
Yeah, this is
De
one instance
grafikája az
where
mind nagyon tetszik
you'll
nekem.
get the items yourself. Your
Right.
friend isn't going to be able to steal your garden crops from you, as funny as that might be with some close friends.
So whoever's plot it is, that's who's harvested
Egy
it.
pillanatra bealudtam.
Okay.
Bealudtam egy
Great.
pillanatra,
Okay,
srácok.
perfect. Thank you for sharing
Nagy a
that.
baj.
Now, what is that menu we just looked at? Is that a little emote menu?
It is, yeah. So this is what you would do exactly to cheer somebody on in fishing, but you can also just do it for fun
Kajak,
when you're with your friends.
egy ilyen
Celebrating a
mikropillanatra
great
bealudtam.
harvest with Jay. All right, now that we've harvested, this is the first time we're taking a look at cooking. Tell me how we cook, what the benefits of cooking are, and kind of how all of that works.
Yeah, so this
Az
is
a
the
baj, hogy
main
már kávét
feature
sem
for
tudok
using
inni,
all
mert
those
nincs
garden
tejem.
crops
Tehát,
you're
hogy így
growing. It's a skill that we really wanted to focus on multiplayer
Fogytam.
gameplay in particular. And so sort of like real world
ma
cooking,
ittam meg az utcsó
if you're by yourself, it's going to be a little
Adagok.
chaotic because you're jumping between different stations. You need to, chop some veggies. You need to flip the pan. But with a friend, you can combo that up and make it a little bit easier. So we have a number of mini games as part of the cooking activity. This one is the chopping one, but there's also a flipping, a stirring, and a rolling activity that you'll be asked to do. As players collaborate, as long as, again, you help in making of this dish, you kind of share in on that final dish that's created.
Ez tök jó, ez a
And
főzés.
I think Olivia mentioned earlier, but star quality dishes you'll be able to place on your plot. So, you know, we see players often make a beautiful spread on their tables of their cooking activities.
Are there any particular perks or buffs or anything that you would get from a higher star quality meal?
Yeah, so
Ez a főzés annyira nem egyszerű
cooking and
egyébként.
food basically fill your focus meter, which focus
Volt
in the
Market. Az a
game
baj, hogy
really
nekem
feeds
nem
into all
hozzák
of
ki
your
a Volt
progression.
Marketba,
So as you do
max a
activities in the game
foodórában.
and you level up each of your skills,
De hogyha már
as long
onnan
as you
Marketból
have
rendelnek, az
focus,
vagy
we're
kéne
giving
több
you a
mindent
benefit
rendelni
or a
is.
bonus on that experience
Nincs
earned.
kedvem.
So it's definitely beneficial if you want to really push forward in the game to keep your focus meter full and make sure you're consuming food at a regular basis.
I feel like that's a very stress-free take on a traditional survival mechanic within a game like this, where it's not like I need to eat and drink and sleep and keep all of that running in order to do this.
Jó, de ez nem
Instead, you're
survival
rewarded
game.
for having your focus meter full. Is that correct, Ambriel?
Yeah, absolutely. Just sort of like a lot of things we've talked about, like with gardening, you can
Pedig
really min-max if
izgalmasabb
you
lenne,
want, but
hogyha
you're not going to
kellene
be
így
punished for
túlélni
not doing
benne,
the
akkor legalább lenne
optimal
valami
thing.
izgalom
And
benne.
same with focus. It's really beneficial to have a snack before you go out, just like in real life.
Biztos, hogy nem
but you're
iszok
going to be
kávét
fine
tej
if you
nélkül,
don't.
de hány.
Just like in real life. I love a good
Nem
snack
szeretem.
before I go out, and in fact, had one today. All right. I've seen some pretty incredible looks today, some really nice fits on our villagers and on our
Fú,
characters.
boxú, azonnal
go
hagyd el a
about
csetet,
increasing
vissza se nézz,
my own
vissza se
look and my
térj.
own
Hát
vibe check,
mekkora
if you will.
mekkora
Ambriel, tell us
bunkó.
about how we can look our best.
Ilyen
in Palia.
30 plusz hallod.
Yeah, so we're running into Gel's shop right now, which is one of my favorite NPCs.
Premium store.
And we're
Ott a
checking out
premium
all of the
store.
different
Ott a
options that we
premium
have. So we
store.
saw at the very beginning when we looked in Character Creator, there's a bunch of different options that are all available to players for free as soon as they start playing. And you can open up your wardrobe, which can be on your housing plot, at the stables, or you can come visit Gel's shop, which is a fun way to do it in town. And you can see all of those options that we saw in character creation for hair and all of these different outfits and accessories. And then now we're taking a look at some of the premium options. So these are, they get a little bit crazier. We have some fun options to mix and match here. Swap all of the colors so that you can take one piece from one outfit and mix and
Ó,
match it with
micsoda
a bunch of
agancs,
other
hülye
ones and
vagy!
try to create
Abban a
something
pillanatban
that's really
agancs.
unique to you. Yeah, we're running through some of. This is a fan favorite so far
Ú,
for
de
Sixers,
szép.
and I
Így
think
új
probably for
galaxi
players too.
agancs,
Those shiny
érted?
antlers. we were just
Galaxis.
looking at, That's
Yep.
very cool.
Exactly.
Galaxisos
That's very
agancs.
cool. Now you mentioned that some of the items are more premium, and we're here at Gel's shop. So
Yeah.
what is the currency in the world of Palia? Are we trading for this really cool bug that we just caught, or how does that work?
Yeah, so this shop is the only place right now where you are using real world currency. So this is our premium store. For everything else in the world, you're using gold, which you're getting through insect catching and any other
Halljátok,
skills
srácok,
that you're
alig
just
bírok
gaining
mozogni.
normally throughout play.
Hát
Is that
alig
the
bírtam
mayor's
felemelni a
jacket?
karrémat az
Are we,
előbb.
pretty
can you buy the
close.
mayor's
Hát nem tudom, mi a
jacket?
szar van velem.
It
Esküszöm,
is pretty fun to
elfogok
try to
el.
get some outfits that maybe match your favorite NPC or someone you're maybe trying to
Akkor ez ilyen
impress.
izé,
Get
nem?
something
Ez
that
ilyen
maybe would appeal
fizetős
to them.
store.
Very nice. And what is this that we're looking at right now? That looks comfy.
Yeah, we have to pause on this one. This is a super comfortable look. This is always what I like to be wearing at my housing spot. I like to have different outfits. for
Muszáj
every
mozognom, mert
occasion in
esküszöm.
Palia. And this is the one I would prefer to be wearing in real life too.
Yes, I think
Nem
next
jó.
time we all get
Érzem,
together
hogy
in this inn and do this
Valami
stream,
nem-
we should
nem-
all
nem-
be
nem jó.
wearing that onesie.
That would be perfect. I love it.
I'm down.
That's it. We have it. And oh my goodness, is that a
De nem,
influencer?
nem. Ez nem
Maxwell,
erültem a
what?
testem,
what
ilyen,
is that?
mintha nem lenne
Can you
erő
play
a
guitar in
testemben.
That was the Bard Star
Okay.
outfit, which, yeah, if you really want to live the rock and roll glam lifestyle, that's your outfit for you. Can't play instruments yet.
Okay,
But
yet.
it's definitely something we
Hát
could do
sixpack az
in the
nincs, ez
future.
biztos.
We'll see.
Ez valahol mélyen.
I love that. And you know, there's a lot of people who want to live their best bard life.
Csoda szegecses, na
So I love that we have a look for that. Now, all of the
Köszi a
looks that we're
követést.
seeing right now, are these things players can expect to see during
Esküszöm,
Palia's
kéne
beta?
valamit rendelnem,
Yeah,
basszus, valami
absolutely. So everything we're looking
innivalót
at now
már.
will be available
It's valami
during the
nem jó.
beta, as well as probably a couple more options too. And then we're going to be releasing new options all the time. There's already a pretty good breadth of expressions here that you could choose depending on what fantasy you want to have in Palia, what kind of player you want to be. And we hope to add to that all the time so that you can always find new expressions for that.
Yeah, some of the looks that we're seeing right now look a little more real world inspired, while some of them do look a little magical and more high fantasy. Kind of like the look that we're seeing right now.
Jó, dinnyéssel mérgezzük meg testünket. Mert nem fogom kibírni 10-ig. De az a baj, ha most megiszom, akkor meg nem fog tudni
that all have a very different vibe to them. This one has the twinkling stars on the underside of the bottom, which I love. It's really fun to see while you're gliding. Yeah, this is pretty much the outfit that you'll almost always find me in, or at least some parts of it mixed and matched with others.
Awesome. Now, does the suit say your outfit give you any type of buff or bonus, or are these items strictly cosmetic at this point?
Strictly cosmetic. So we want to make sure that nothing that would hold you back from gameplay is pay-gated in any way.
Great.
So we think expression is a really big part of Palia, and players are going to want to show off the kind of personality they have and change that as often as they want to. So we want to have a lot of options there, but we also want to make sure that there's nothing that's going to block you from gameplay, no bonuses, no pay to win. Yeah.
I feel like in terms of look, from what we've seen of
Indokolatlanul gyorsan kellene
it's
bealszok.
very cozy, but there's such a wide variety at the same time.
Sem fekszem
And
a
I want
három
to
előtt.
ask a little bit
Így már nem.
about what it
De
takes to
így meg
bring
nem
that
tudom,
art style
nem tudnék
of
ébren
Palia
maradni a
to
streamben
life.
egyébként.
So, can you speak to the efforts of your team a little bit, Embryo?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a ton that goes into it and a bunch of super talented developers. It all starts with an idea, obviously.
Jó, most nem gondoltam teljesen át, hogy miket hogy akarok venni, de nagyon gyorsan hozzá kiment. Itt ilyen probléma.
From individual artists,
de még hosszú stream alatt se
from
aludtam be ilyen
different media that we like, different art that we like. The world of Palia, it's a wide world already right now, but it's going to get so much bigger, like we keep talking about. There's a lot that will unveil in the future, and we try to take inspiration from all of those things as we translate it from a concept to modeling.
De valószínűleg ez mocskosul álmos, ez nagyon most rárak nekem, pedig érdekel ez a játék. De nagyon bealtatom. De szerintem mindjárt vége.
It's a very in-depth process, but it really does pay off when you get to see it in world. And Maxwell, would you say the same for your team as well? It's, you know, walk us through that process a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. When we think about creating the world and that cozy vibe, there's a lot of intentional thought put behind, you know, shape, language,
nem tudom, hogy
and
mondanak
color
egyébként
palette
még valami érdekes, izgalmas dolgot.
See a little bit of that in a second. So the team is constantly trying to find a way of like balancing how do we make sure a player can express themselves in whatever real world aesthetic they want, but also make it match appropriately with the world of Palia.
That makes sense. All right, now earlier when we met Kenyatta, Ambrielle, I said let's talk about this a little later in the stream, but Kenyatta has a very unique style, and I feel like...
Na jó, köszönjük, de itt nagyon nagy problémák vannak, úgyhogy...